So I feel like this might be the most fun you've ever had on the movie. Was that the case?
Most fun. Look, you got to remember I did a Guy Ritchie movie 20 years ago, and if you want to have a good time on a movie set, that's the one you want to talk about. I mean, it's almost incomparable to believe that you could, have a group of lads that he'd assembled back then. It was just a riot. Not one day, it was every day. So I'm not going to, take anything away from the movie that we just did together with Dwayne, but we do have a laugh when we go to work. I mean, it's part of it. For me, the enjoyment of making movies is the ability to not take yourself seriously. And when you do, then it becomes far too boring. And I've seen people that do take themselves seriously, and it's quite sad when you see that. At the end of the day, we're only making films, aren't we?
Well, it feels like a movie that you might have corpsed a lot. Like a few times when you do the scenes, you might have accidentally broke and laughed, especially the bits where you're calling each other's names. I assume you ad-libbed a lot of those. What were the ones that didn't make it into the final film?
Well, this is Deckard Shaw is a very quintessentially British guy. So who do we have to get to help write the dialogue? So the one person that comes to mind is my old pal Drew Pearce, who's not an old pal, but now he is. Dave had a relationship with him, and I was very fortunate enough to hit it off with Drew, and he literally wrote 98% of everything I said in this movie. My backstory with Brixton was very, very thin when we got early scripts. It was almost no teeth in it whatsoever. And Drew came in and put some real gasoline in there and made it really great. Same with my sister. I mean, he's pretty much the unsung hero as far as I'm concerned for the great dialogue, for the great backstory, for the great plot, and the great dynamic I had with both of the key characters in this.
Well, actually, saying that, because obviously it brings together both the previous Fast and Furious films with this one. Is Shaw going to return to Fast and Furious, or is this actually kind of now a separate series that you're going to try and kind of replicate the success of?
Who knows? If I could have a crystal ball, I could tell you all the answers to all of this. But the Fast universe is not my universe. It's a universe that existed way before I was invited to play on the playing field. But what we found was the Deckard Shaw character was a great character, and a lot of the fans sort of responded to him and what he was doing, and so we just built out a little bit further with trying to open the curtain and peer into his world a little bit more. And you never get the chance to do that with these Fast films. There's so many characters, so many stories that needs to be addressed that you never get a chance to really focus down on Deckard Shaw or Hobbs. So we did that within the 90 minutes or the 2 hours. We get to really understand a lot more about these two characters.
And you mentioned Guy Ritchie earlier. I feel like, looking at some of his films, especially the big budget ones, he would be a very good fit to direct a future Hobbs and Shaw. Have you already made the phone call saying, hey, Guy?
He'd nail it. He'd give it a real set of, he'd give it his real sort of a fingerprint, if you like. He's a superbly talented director, and he's super efficient. He doesn't dilly-dally. He's a great physical sort of martial artist. He fights every day. He understands action. He's the perfect guy that could strap this on and blow it through the ceiling, yeah.